Dricus Du Plessis made Sean Strickland cry yet again. We all knew this was coming after Dricus Du Plessis' post-fight press conference at UFC 305. And I'm not talking about physical tears, but Sean Strickland is crying nonstop. He did an interview with ESPN. He also did a podcast. We're going to take a look at clips from both. But he cried about Du Plessis ducking him, which is craziness. He also cried about South African racism. He also cried that he was robbed in the first fight and he loses close fights that he actually wins because of his love for Trump. And on top of all that, this habitual crybaby is still pushing false narratives about the first Du Plessis fight, claiming that he was headbutted, and that is the reason that he lost the fight as well. So we're going to break it all down this video. We're going to jump right into it. And also we're going to take a look at a Dana White clip that a lot of people might not have picked up on, which I think is hilarious, because Dana almost backtracked from giving Sean Strickland the next title shot. And I do believe there is a very large percentage chance that Sean Strickland does not get the next middleweight title shot. It remains to be seen. I'm not ready to die on that hill just yet, but we'll also take a look at that in this video as well. So we're going to start off right with, oh, there's Sean Strickland crying. You're going to see him doing a lot of this in the video, but it's not going to be physical tears. He's just going to be crying, making excuses about everything and saying Du Plessis ducking him. We're going to start with ESPN MMA. Look, I feel like you guys are probably tired of hearing this. What is this guy recording on? What is he recording on? I genuinely need to know. Is he recording on like an old Sidekick phone? Is he recording on a VCR somehow? What is this camera quality? I mean, you can I'm not kidding when I say you can get better picture quality for $50. $50 webcam, you can have better picture quality than Brett Okamoto. This guy works for ESPN MMA. I don't get it. I absolutely don't get it. It's atrocious. At least Sean Strickland has an excuse. He probably has like a 6-year-old phone. But let's jump right into it. He makes claims that Du Plessis is ducking him for Robert Whitaker. Listen to this.
Oh yeah, no. The boss said, "Man, I'm next in line." We're looking at the rankings. I'm next in line. I don't blame Dricus for trying to duck me for fucking Whitaker. I can't say that maybe I want to do the same thing. You go and you walk through Whitaker, and then you lose to me. The world knows you lost. Dana knows you lost. So like, I don't blame the guy for trying to duck me. I'd probably do the same damn thing.
So Dricus is trying to duck him now. Keep in mind, Dricus beat him. Dricus beat Adesanya more impressively than Strickland did. And now he's saying, oh, he's trying to duck me for Whitaker, when in reality, Whitaker is far more deserving of a title shot than Sean Strickland right now. That's before Whitaker fights Khamzat Chimaev. So if Whitaker beats Khamzat Chimaev, he is unequivocally more deserving than Sean Strickland. And here is Sean Strickland whining about where Dricus talked at the UFC 305 post-fight presser, saying Whitaker's being done over. Whitaker does deserve the next title shot. I did a whole breakdown on that. If you care to go check that out, I'll link it down in the description. Dricus absolutely humiliated Sean Strickland at the 305 presser. And Sean Strickland humiliates himself in this interview as well as the podcast we're going to take a look at. I believe it's Eric Nixick's podcast, but we'll get to that in a second. Next clip I want to show you. I mean, this is just... we got to point this out. I called it out in my other video. I just want to point it out here. Let's listen to it and then we'll react.
We're going to have a 5-round war. Like, that's going to happen. We're going to go for 25 minutes and give some brain cells to the god, or do you want to go fight a guy who you broke in one round? So I don't blame the guy. I'd be trying to do the same shit, dude, but that's not how rankings work. That's not how the UFC works. We're going to fight my man to the death.
To the death. We're going to have a 5-round war. Believe it or not, he's talking about Dricus Du Plessis. He's not talking about a streamer. He's not talking about an influencer. He's not talking about a teenage rock climbing instructor. He's talking about Dricus Du Plessis. He's going to go to war to the death. Sean Strickland needs to say to the decision, okay? Jab and teeps. And also, he seems far too confident that he's getting this next title shot. And he's going to end up looking like this very soon if he ends up getting skipped over. We'll get to that Dana White clip in a little bit. But, I mean, seriously, he's talking about to the death and we're going to go to war. And, yeah, of course he's going to try. Strickland doesn't even do anything. He jabs and teeps. That's it. To act like Dricus, who literally goes to war each and every time, is scared of fighting Strickland, a guy he's already defeated, mentally and physically, is absolutely insane. Now, this next clip is even more insane and even more humiliating because he acts like Dricus. He just got done, for some context here, he just got done pretending like Israel Adesanya isn't good. And now he's pretending like Dricus Du Plessis isn't good and that the only reason Du Plessis won is because of a cut. And he talks about that later as well. And we're going to break down that cut because he's lying about that cut.
Don't think
it's kind of hard. So, like, you look at it from my perspective when I fought Dricus. Watch the fight. Until I had that, I mean, dude, that cut was nasty. Like, they said it was in the muscle. Until I had that cut, I mean, like, this has been a pretty standard, easy fight for me.
It was an easy fight for him until he had that cut. By the way, that cut happened in the 4th round. Dricus won 3 out of 5 rounds.
It was pretty easy. And then, dude, the cut was so bad that it just, I mean, I couldn't see out of my eye. I'm left eye dominant. I just couldn't see anything. I went 2 rounds of like, I can't see. So even the 5th round, I couldn't see, but I was just like, well, we're just, bite the mouthpiece and fight. So
we're going to get to that a little bit later because he eventually claims, and he has in the past, he claims this cut is from a headbutt. And also, I don't know if he's misremembering or what, but he talks about the rounds a very weird way. It's nothing but excuses. He can't handle that he lost to Du Plessis, so he has to cry and whine like he definitively won, even though he backed up like a little bitch the entire fight and jabbed, while Dricus marched him down, threw big overhands, and clipped him and beat him up, okay? It was a close fight. It was a competitive fight. But when you fight like that and then you cry that you lost in a very close fight and you make a bunch of excuses, and it gets even worse here in a second, he starts blaming basically political biases for the reason that he lost the fight, which is just insane. Talking about in general fights where he goes to close decisions because he's asked about that. And he says, look, it's because of my political affiliations. Talk about a card right out of the Colby Covington handbook. Absolute disgrace. Next clip, he gets into talking about the headbutt a little bit here because this is something that he's done before. He claims that it was a headbutt that cut him open, even though it's not true. It was actually a right hand. I'll prove that to you in a second.
Dricus is a weirdo, man. Maybe he throws another headbutt and cuts me again. Maybe hopefully cut this side of my face. But no, dude, I'm always confident. Like, at the end of the day, like, I just want to have a war. Like, I think the thing going into that fight, like, I'm going to wake up Saturday morning. I'm going to have all my gear. I'm going to be looking at the clock, and I'm just going to know that, like, I'm going into a fight that's going to get some brain damage, and it's kind of like it's kind of a nice feeling knowing that you're going to go and just have a war. It's kind of nice.
So more talks about war. He is not talking about an influencer. He's not talking about a teenage rock climbing instructor. He's not talking about a streamer. He's talking about going to war with Dricus Du Plessis, which he never does. He just backs up. Dricus makes it a war. Okay. And again, he claims about the headbutt, but we'll get to that a little bit later because he claims it on the podcast as well in a little bit more depth. And I'm going to break down what actually caused the cut because what he's saying here is literally a lie. Okay. And I don't know if he's purposely lying or he's doing it because he doesn't realize it, but he is lying about how that cut originated. Next clip we're going to take a look at. I'm so tired of hearing this shit, guys. This dude's crying that basically he likes Trump. And that's why his close fights go against him. Whether it be Paulo Costa, Jarrett Cannonier, Dricus Du Plessis, he claims it's his affiliation with Trump is the reason that these judges are judging fights against him. Which is crazy because, and I got a lot of heat for saying, look, I have no problem with a judge giving Costa that fight. I know people are going to say, Joe, you just lost all credibility. Literally almost nothing happened in that fight. And I think a lot of people are so dead set that Strickland won because it appeared that he dropped Costa multiple times, but he didn't. It was Costa being off balance. Fair enough. I have no problem if you say Sean Strickland won. But to act like that fight was so action-packed and eventful that there was a clear winner, if you saw that on the street, you'd be like, oh, nobody won. Nobody got the better of each other. But the point is, forget about that fight. That is one fight where you can say, okay, maybe the political bias. But you're talking about the Dricus Du Plessis fight is because of political bias? No, you just lost. The Jarrett Cannonier fight? No, you just lost. Were they close? Were they competitive? Yes. But you just lost. But instead, he's got to pull the old Colby Covington card. Say, yeah, it's because I like Trump. And that's why they're so biased against me. I mean, I'm so sick of this narrative. They can't accept a loss to save their life just because they worship some political figure as a pseudo deity. They're a Donald Trump sycophant. Strickland's talking about how the UFC doesn't pay him any money, but he's going to donate to a millionaire, billionaire. I mean, this guy's dumb as a box of rocks.
And then, as much as anybody doesn't want to say they're biased, like I have such a strong personality, you can't judge me and say you're not biased. Like how many people, you know what I'm saying? Like picture judging somebody, you say you're a liberal and you hate Trump. And now picture Trump's a fighter and you say there's a close fight or whatever it might be. You're gonna not vote for Trump. Like we all have this bias in us. I'm fully aware of that. And I mean, it kind of sucks. It just kind of sucks to never know you'll never win a close fight.
I mean, this is craziness. This goes to show me he goes around judging people on what he perceives to be their political affiliations, which is an absolute joke in today's day and age. It's like, do people realize some people are disconnected from politics? Do people realize that some people don't eat, sleep, and breathe and buy memorabilia and donate to political figures and they just go on about their lives? They're not, putting political signs in their front yards or bumper stickers or donating to campaigns. Is that not possible? I know a lot of the MMA community thinks the same way. Is that physically not possible? That's what he's acting like. Like everyone's entire life revolves around American politics. And he's crying that he lost because of his political beliefs. That goes to show me that he judges people based on what he perceives their political beliefs to be. What's next? He's going to say, oh yeah, they're judging it against me because I was abused by my dad. What? It just makes no sense. And it makes absolutely no sense. Next clip. Look, he's talking more about Dricus ducking him for Robert Whitaker, and he's like, yeah, there's no way it's Robert Whitaker. It's me. There's no doubt it's me. There's no doubt.
This is like, quote unquote, like really trying hard to duck you. I mean, he even said that, like, oh, I think Sean's next if that's what the fans want. And when he talked about Whitaker,
No,
he was asked.
We did an interview where he was like, oh, well, Whitaker this, Whitaker that. Like, no, ain't no Whitaker. It's me. It's me.
Mm-hmm.
It's him. It's definitely him. He has one win since he lost his title that he never defended, that he won off an undeserved title shot, and he won a split decision against Paulo Costa in a very boring fight. Robert Whitaker beat Paulo Costa more impressively, then went out there and starched Ikram Aliskerov, and now he's fighting Khamzat Chimaev. There is no doubt. It's not an opinion, it is fact. There is no doubt who deserves a title shot more right now, and especially if he beats Khamzat Chimaev. I would make the case that Nasruddin Imavov deserves a title shot more than Sean Strickland right now. And Nasruddin's fighting Brendan Allen soon. He beats Brendan Allen, that's not even up for debate. Now Sean Strickland's third in line. But instead he rather cry and whine. He's crying about Dricus' post-fight comments where he said, Whitaker's being done over. But the dude is just a crybaby. And in a second here, he's trying to duck going to South Africa and crying about racism. And I find this so funny because I'm not even here to speak on the legitimate criticisms or whether or not the criticisms are legitimate. I'm not here to even speak on that. I don't know enough about South Africa to speak on that. But what I find so funny about this is his supporters' heads have to be exploding. Because if Israel Adesanya said something like this, oh my God, the backlash that he would get would be insane. And now we have Sean Strickland crying about racism as a reason he doesn't want to fight in a certain location. What? Again, even if that's a legitimate case, that makes absolutely no sense. Let's listen to him say it, okay? I got to skip ahead here. But yeah, it's just he doesn't want to fight in South Africa. That's it.
He's off whenever they want it.
And also, I don't see a world in which this happens, but they have talked about South Africa. And I know you tweeted about it, but do you think that's even a possibility?
Like, dude, no, not yet. I think maybe at some point, but they're not ready yet. And dude, South Africa is such a
By the way, he said fucking shithole there. So he's insulting Dricus Du Plessis' country just because of what he read online, basically, and maybe one visit.
I don't say that. Everyone's like, I know I talk a lot of shit, dude. I've been to South Africa. Like
He's been there one time, so he knows everything there is to know about South Africa.
I fought in South Africa once.
What?
And it's like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude. And it's just like, I just remember like it's racist, it's shitty. It's like everybody's impoverished, not everybody. The black people are poor, the white people are rich and live in compounds. I just don't send me to these places. South Africa is rated the most unequal country in the world. I mean, how the do you even get? They got North Korea, dude. Like, what are we doing here?
So you have Sean Strickland saying, yeah, I don't want to fight in South Africa. They're racist. All the white people are rich. All the black people are poor. The black people are treated poorly, whatever he's saying. What is he scared? He's going to go there and enjoy it so much he's going to have to move there? I don't understand. Again, even if every claim that he's making is true, and I'm not saying that they are or aren't, what does that have to do with you going to fight there? You might have too many fans there. You might get swarmed. I don't get it. I really, truly don't get it. It's just an excuse because he wants to dictate the fight on his terms. He doesn't want to go to South Africa because he's going to go to South Africa, and then if he loses, he's going to say, I was robbed. The judges were against me. The referee was against me. The fans were against me. He's going to cry and whine that he was robbed, and he just doesn't want to travel there. Since when is a contender who lost their belt that they never even should have had because they didn't deserve a title shot, but just circumstances they got a title shot? You lost your belt without ever defending it. Then you win a split decision over a literal scrub, basically. And now you think you get to make demands. Talk about humiliating. What alternate reality is Sean Strickland living in? And it gets worse. We're going to go to his podcast now, okay? We're going to go to his podcast, or not his podcast, Eric Nixick's podcast. I'll link this down in the description. I'll link the interview from ESPN as well as this one down in the description so you can go check it out. I think this is new, to be quite honest. And again, here he is crying about what's going on in South Africa. Like that has any type of impact on him going to fight there. It has nothing to do with it. Nothing. So listen to this.
You're doing this. But now you are not the strong majority anymore. And now it's happening to you. And you guys are all sitting in your fucking panic rooms like, oh no, like this is not right or fair. Like, no, fuck you, dude. Go back to fucking Dutch or where the fuck you're from, dude.
Yeah, I did see something.
So go back to Dutch or wherever you're from. Imagine if Adesanya said that. So all the little, Strickland fanboys who would have cried and whined if Adesanya would have said, you better get on Sean Strickland as well. Sean Strickland is, a beta male. He's crying about racism. Yeah, I want to hear it. I want to hear it from the MMA community. You got Sean Strickland crying about racism in 2024. That is crazy talk, considering he says women shouldn't be allowed to leave the kitchen. They shouldn't be allowed to work or vote. He's talking about people who died and making fun of them, when their families are mourning. He's talking about people's wives. Meanwhile, DDP talks a little bit of crap to him, says, I'm going to beat you like your daddy did. And Sean O'Malley says, at least my daddy didn't fuck me. And this is what you get out of Sean Strickland for a month straight. That's what you get from him. Now, the next thing we're going to take a look at, actually, is him crying about the headbutt even more, which I just don't understand. I don't know if he actually believes this or not.
Are you want it back because you want
Let me tell you, if it wasn't for that headbutt and cut, I would have fucking walked through him. If you watch that fight till the blood happened.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the headbutt and cut, I would have walked through him. Watch that fight until the cut happened. The cut happened in the 4th round. You lost 2, 3, and 4 to my recollection. So you lost 2 rounds before the cut. You lost damn near 50% of the fight. 40% of the fight before the cut.
I was living in the fucking Matrix, bro. I was fucking seeing everything
I was there. I text Eric literally right after, and I.
By the way, I only watched like 10 minutes of this podcast. You can tell this guy's the ultimate yes man. I mean, he would give Sean a rim job right now if he asked him. I'm telling you 100%.
said 125, and he goes, "Yeah, me too."
Yeah, watch. Yeah, and the reason why I lost 3 and 4 was the blood.
Yeah,
and
so he lost 3 and 4 because of the blood. Remember that.
Remember Ray Cepho. I remember.
That's it. Okay. So it's the headbutt. He lost 3 and 4 because of the blood. Luckily for you guys, I have the slow-mo of the 4th round. About a minute into the 4th round, maybe 30 seconds into the 4th round. Keep in mind, there's no blood on, I know you can't really see it too much yet, but there's no blood on Sean Strickland's face. He was not bleeding in round 3. And I want you to watch this very first right hand from Dricus Du Plessis, because this is what actually cuts open Sean Strickland. Watch this. So boom. Okay, right hand lands right on the left eye. Watch where it lands again. I'm going to show you one more time. Boom. Right on the left eye, right exactly where the cut was. Then he misses the follow-up left hand, okay? Now look, you can see Strickland's not bleeding just yet. He's not bleeding just yet, but you'll see it in a second. Undeniable, unequivocal evidence that he was bleeding before the quote-unquote head clash. So you'll see it in a second. He starts to blink it out here. Watch. In a sec, so that jab misses, and then the left hand misses. And in a second, from the camera angle change, look, you can see him blinking it out right there. Now watch, you'll see the blood trickle down his face here in a second. Boom. Right there. There's blood right trickling. You can just barely see it in the frame on the screen right now. But there's blood trickling down his face right now. Look. Boom. Better freeze frame. Better freeze frame. You look, there's blood right there. That is what caused the cut, that right hand. It's not in any head clash. I'm going to show you the head clash that happens immediately afterwards. That wasn't even a significant head clash. But again, he's already bleeding. You can kind of see it right there as well. Right here is where he talks that he got cut open, right? Right here, as Dricus comes up. So you can, look, he just grazes against it. Just grazes against it. And then you can see, okay, a little bit more. I think he just smeared the blood with the head clash. The blood was just smeared. You can see it right there. Unequivocal, undeniable that it was a right hand that cut open Sean Strickland, not a head clash. But this dude is still crying about it. Now, the last thing I want to show you is Dana White. Because Dana White came out and said, yeah, Sean's the #1 contender. He's ranked #1. He's next in line. He deserves it. At Dana White's Contender Series, he didn't sound so committed, if you ask me. He did not. And we know Dana White. You know, it's not always who's most deserving, okay? They might give it to someone else. And even so, Sean Strickland's not most deserving. Does this sound like a guy who's 100% dead set on giving Sean Strickland the next title fight? Listen to this.
The middleweight division is really starting to kind of
heat up. I agree.
Crammed at the very top. So,
yeah, there's nothing but fun fights coming up in the middleweight division. It's like when everybody, it's like you're asking me right now. It's who knows? There's just so many possibilities in that division right now. And I always like, instead of talking first, I like to see how fights play out and how it.
What I understood right there, as a longtime watcher and body language expert of Dana White, he regretted what he said about Sean Strickland. Watch.
So many possibilities in that division right now. And I always like, instead of talking first, I like to see how fights play out and how it all, you know, after everybody fights, let's see what happens and we'll find out what's next.
He wasn't even specifically asked about the middleweight title there. That sounds like a little bit of a backtrack. We know Dricus probably isn't fighting until the end of the year at earliest. Probably not till next year. Possibly. We don't know for sure. So much can change between now and then. So much can change. And especially when you have Sean Strickland crying and whining and saying crazy stuff on social media 24/7, saying he's not going to South Africa, which it seems like Dana wants to go to South Africa. Whether that happens or not, I don't know, because they always say, oh, we're going to go here, we're going to go there, and then they never end up going. But the next question is about South Africa.
Is South Africa on the docket? Because
100%.
Cool. Thank
100%.
you.
South Africa, 100% on the docket. It seemed like he's committed to South Africa. Now, can they make that happen? I don't know the logistics of that. But there is a decent chance that Sean the Crybaby Strickland does not get the next title shot against Dricus Du Plessis. But it's so hilarious putting all these clips together and looking at Sean Strickland cry and whine. He's ducking me, and it was because of Trump that I lost, and I don't want to go to South Africa because of racism and this and that. And it's just so funny because it proves exactly what I said in my video from a couple days ago. Dricus Du Plessis absolutely humiliated him at the UFC 305 presser. Go check that out. I'll put it in the end cards as well as the description. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. And thank you so much for watching.